What is something super important that is on the verge of happening? Last week, a Pakistani-based terrorist blew up a bus, killing 41 Indian soldiers in the disputed territory of Kashmir. India blamed Pakistan for the attack and swore revenge. Pakistan had replied saying that India takes revenge, they will retaliate. Yesterday, a group of Indian fighter jets crossed into Pakistani airspace, conducted an airstrike on the terrorist camp in Pakistani territory. If true, this could start an Indian-Pakistani war, where both countries are nuclear powers. Update: looks like the verge of happening actually happened. Pakistan shot down 2 Indian fighter jets and captured one of the pilots. India has also apparently shot down a Pakistani fighter jet. Pakistan just shot down 2 Indian fighter jets. So this is what Reddit is like at 3 AM, the golden time to be online. Edit: damn, most karma comment. Another India-Pakistan war. Yes, but a nuclear war is highly unlikely, with Indians' no first use policy and Pakistan not risking it by being the first ones to use nuclear weapons. Pakistan's nuclear arsenals is scary because who controls it in the field? Like at one point the US had very serious plans to send in special forces to secure nuclear sites if the country descended into chaos. Hi, I'm finishing my masters in non-proliferation right now. I want to weigh in on this. India-Pakistan is by far the most likely scenario for a nuclear war. This has a lot to do with the policies you just put forward actually. While it's true that India has a no first use policy, they also have a second, more concerning policy in place. They reserve the right to respond to any terrorist attack with a massive ground invasion. This is the stated policy of the Indian military. Now, on the other hand, Pakistan reserves the right to use tactical nuclear force against invading armies because it lacks the territory required for strategic depth. They can't absorb an invasion like the US, Russia, or China can. Once that tactical nuke flies, all bets are off. So, India wouldn't necessarily have to launch anything to prompt Pakistan to fire away. Just invade with a real army, which they have promised to do. If they experience any more major terrorist attacks from Pakistani sources, like the one that just happened, it's still unlikely, and cooler heads look like they are going to prevail. But ultimately, if a non-state actor decides to bomb Mumbai right now, I will be very nervous. Malaria vaccine. There are dozens of promising candidates in early trials right now, and hopefully at least one will be highly effective and affordable. This will be not only a huge game changer for eliminating malaria and improving the lives of hundreds of millions of people, but it will also mark a huge scientific success as the first vaccine against a complicated parasitic organism. Hopefully we will gain key insights from this process to be able to develop new vaccines for other complex organisms, such as HIV, TB, and influenza. Also, if you are an anti-vaxxer, fuck you. Edit: holy shit, this blew up. There is a currently approved vaccine RTS, https://www.who.in/malaria/media/malaria vaccine implementation ca/n/ that has completed stage 3 trials. It was approved in 2015, but is now rolling out in a pilot program to 3 major countries this year. However, the efficacy is non-optimal. Prevented 40% of malaria cases in children over 4 years. Not to poo-poo this effort, but there are literally dozens of other competitors targeting different stages of the malaria lifestyle, and it is very likely at least one of these, or perhaps a combination of several, will be much more effective. https://www.who.in/immunization/development/global_vaccine_pipeline_malaria_2015 sep.pdf. To those worried about overpopulation, which is a very valid concern, check out this video by Bill Gates. https://www.youtube.com/watch V equals OBRG2 just 0. TL. DW. Improving health does not lead to population growth, but rather population stability as families have less children. As many have pointed out, a malaria vaccine is just one part of a multi-pronged approach to malaria elimination. We also need mosquito population control, despite growing insecticide resistance, better anti-malarial drug treatment, despite growing drug resistance, and new methods of detection and surveillance, such as rapid diagnostic assays. Elimination this disease is one of the greatest challenges our race has faced, but I believe that we can do it. This is our generation's man on the moon moment. https://www.getesfoundation.org/whatwedo/global health/malaria and https://www.nlm.me.gov/pmc/articles/pmc6206767/ And to all the anti-vax comments and PMs I received, my message above still stands. But if you are willing to have a reasonable discussion regarding the pros and cons of vaccination programs, I would be happy to discuss with you. My only prerequisite is that we use only peer-reviewed journals and high-quality evidence to support our claims. Look at these assholes trying to give autism to mosquitoes. You joke, but I just spoke to a friend working on his dissertation involving malaria. He believes the eradication of malaria won't come directly from a vaccine, but the current research involving releasing mosquitoes that carry a dominant gene which propagates sterile or wonky mosquitoes that can't reproduce. He thinks mosquitoes play no important part in our ecosystem. Organisms that prey on them do not rely on them to live. Tiny birds and other small animals/insects eat many other things at higher quantities. Turn the mosquitoes gay for all I care. Let them fizzle out. Not a global thing, but I haven't walked in over half a year due to injury, and I get to start trying to walk tomorrow. So that's super important for me. Update. It went great. It was kinda painful, but I was able to hobble around like a champ, in my opinion. The doc says keep the amount that I try walking per day to a minimum, but that I should be back up and about in no time. Thanks for the silvers and golds everyone. I've never gotten those before. That's amazing news. I'm so excited for you. I'm beyond excited. Granted I only get to walk for short periods of time, but something is better than nothing. I'm dying. I'm trying to live my days till I either get some dead guy's organ or die slow and painful, from what I'm told, death. I love my life. I'm in a constant process of good things happening. I don't worry. I'm a good dad. I get to spend my days with the girl of my dreams and our wonderful existence. I'm living in overtime. Anything can happen. Edit. Wow, I wrote this comment right before I fell asleep. I've read every comment, and you guys are alright. Drink responsibly. As Wi-Fi covers more and more of the country, phone companies will lose their ability to charge exorbitant prices, because telephony will be available everywhere. Magic Jack will be all you need, all calls and texts running through the internet. I couldn't find my phone, so I asked Alexa to call it. She didn't know what I was talking about. I recited the numbers to her, and she called my phone, which I found. I then asked her to add my number to her contacts, so when I say call my phone she'll call it. She didn't understand. I told her she wasn't very smart. She's pissed off at me. I used to make skills for Alexa and Google Assistant. Alexa is really bad compared to the competition. Edit. Well, I woke up, and I have received a lot of questions. I will do my best to answer them. 1. I wrote software that made it so Google Assistant and Alexa would understand new commands. You would say the command that I set, then my code would run on Amazon servers. It was the same code for both Google Assistant and Alexa. It was only hosted once. 2. I was basing my original comment off of two things. The first being the average words correctly understood per word spoken ratio, which was worst on Alexa. I can't find the data anymore, but when I was doing this, I read an article saying that Alex's was around 77% words understood correctly per word spoken. It was the lowest of any voice assistant. If I remember correctly, this data was given by a competing assistant that is not one of the top players in the voice assistant market. I believe it was Snips, so it should be taken with a grain of salt. The second reason I don't prefer Alexa is because of the process in which you make skills. Alexa requires you to list every possible thing the user can say. You can use variables, called slots, but they have to fit into certain categories that Amazon defines. A color or a country name would be examples of these categories. You can also make your own categories, but you would have to put every possible valid value for that variable in a list. So you can't just have put any word here. With Google, instead of having to list everything the user can say, they have you put in a handful of examples of what the user would say, then it infers what the rest of the list would look like. It then gives you a confidence rating, and you can choose to reject it or ask for confirmation if the confidence rating is too low. This also works for variable categories as well. You just list a few possible values, and it infers what the rest of the list would look like. 3. I don't know which one is best for users. In fact, I don't use any of them. I think they all sort of suck. I feel like something big is going to happen regarding antibiotic resistance. We'll start to really see the effects of the problem within the next few years. It's already happening. It's a massive problem for us already, and the infectious disease team at my hospital is permanently run off their feet trying to deal with multi-resistant organisms. Part of the problem is that we haven't really invented a new class of antibiotic in the last few decades, though I believe there is one in the works, and because time from deployment to resistance is getting shorter and shorter, it is now 1 year between a new antibiotic coming out and resistance to it appearing. Pharmaceutical companies don't want to invest in new antibiotics because they're rendered useless and therefore not profitable so quickly. But we need this kind of research now more than ever. If something doesn't change in the next 10 to 20 years, we are going to end up back at a point where a simple pneumonia will have a high probability of killing a healthy young adult. Edit, adding this because it's a common theme in the comments. The use of phage viruses has been touted for some time as a potential replacement for antibiotics, and it is certainly a promising potential therapy. However, this technology is very much in its infancy, and it is many years away from being clinically useful on a large scale. Additionally, unlike antibiotics, there is no such thing as a broad-spectrum phage. Each individual phage therapy has to be programmed for a specific pathogen. This is a mammoth undertaking, and will undoubtedly prove to be extremely expensive. So while it is certainly promising, and something to keep an eye on, using viruses to destroy bacterial infections is not close enough on the horizon to stop caring about antimicrobial stewardship, the term used to describe the responsible use of antibiotics so as to avoid the spread of resistance. Yep. And it really makes me angry that so many people still don't know about it, and that even if I'm careful and avoid taking a lot of antibiotics, it still doesn't matter. Everyone else has to do it too. Breakthroughs in graphene cells and batteries. Right now we are stuck with lithium, because graphene doesn't store large capacities of power very long, but once we are through that hurdle, it'll be no exaggeration to say you'll have smartphones that charge from 0 to full in a matter of seconds, electric cars which will almost never have to stop for charge, because the charge pads on roads will keep them topped off, and in general the stagnation of high-end tech will end since for a lot of things like processors, the main thing currently holding us back is the amount of energy they can draw. Edit, RIP inbox. Innovations in batteries will also lead to huge changes in our energy grid and facilitate the transfer to renewable energy. Very exciting.